Hey everybody, Mike Toy Bonsai Boise. This is my S-shaped Tigerbark Ficus. Today I'm going to do an update and a trim, and we're going to look at the progress since I did a major correction a few months ago. Been working on some reverse taper for quite a while, really. So come with me, we'll take a look at that, give it a little trim, and make a plan for the future. So here's a quick update since I last worked on it. This was back in January. And if you look to the right side there, there's a cluster of branches, now the left, right there. I've been kicking that can down the road for a while. But that cluster of branches has caused some major taper issues. Reverse taper, that is. Not only that, but they're growing the wrong direction. They're growing inward. If you look real close, there are 4 branches coming out of one spot. But it filled such a large portion of the canopy that I was really kind of hesitant to mess with it. At least for a long time. So I trimmed it up on this particular day. And I kicked the can down the road just a little further. Into February, that is. And then I said enough is enough. And I got dramatic with it. Okay, maybe I'm over dramatizing it, but I made some major cuts. And you're going to see here in a second how it turned out. Not terrible. I mean, obviously, there's a big bald spot there. But could have been worse. So here it is a month after I did it. It's already starting to fill in, so I was being dramatic for nothing. But now that I've made those big cuts, I'm being a little extra careful to not let branches grow in the wrong places, because I don't want to have another reverse taper issue. And as you can see, it's wanting to right there. So we're going to nip it in the bud, literally. You can see the scar there from where I did the major prune. And if you want to go back and watch the video where I did it, I'll post a link to it right here. I repotted it that same day. I've learned with these Tigerbark ficuses, they are in many ways tougher than the Ficus benjaminas. You can defoliate them and they don't react so negatively. They usually just grow new leaves, whereas the Ficus benjaminas do not. Occasionally they do if you time it just right when buds are about to burst, but most of the time they just die back. These do not, which is kind of nice. And here it is a couple months later in May. This is just on my desk, my home office, and I just started trimming it when I was on a call one day. And I realized, I should probably get a little footage of this just to keep track. It was just kind of a routine trim just to keep it in shape a little bit. And at the time, I think we were expecting some cold weather, even in May. I was slightly hesitant to move it out just yet, but I was just getting ready to. Here it is in June, about a month after that. As you can see, it's growing out. It's super healthy. It's like it didn't even skip a beat. It used to be that I didn't have an official front for this tree. It could have gone either way, the front or the back. But now that that big pruning scar's back there, that's pretty much going to be the back now. It's kind of ugly. It'll heal over with time, but see there. So this is going to be the front now. Because you can't really, you can see just the top of that pruning scar, but not very much. And here it is in July. This is as of yesterday. It wasn't overgrown by any means. I mean, it was, I probably could have let it go for a little while longer. But I just want to kind of control the growth on it a little bit, just to avoid that reverse taper issue. You can see some back budding down low on that branch, which is great. That's what I wanted, because I want to fill that dead spot in the middle, and that's how we're going to do it. And also I've been trying to kind of encourage some back budding lower on all the 3 of these branches. So I just feel like there's a little too much space there without any leaves. That, and what happens over time is that the branches start to get thicker. And the thicker the branches are, by comparison, it makes the trunk look thinner. Or at the very least, maybe the opposite should be said, that the thinner the branches are, by contrast, the thicker the trunk ends up looking by comparison. So periodically you want to kind of, I don't know the right term, I want to say almost recycle the branches. That's not really the right term, but renew, I guess. So as they start to back bud down below, you just trim the branch down to where it back buds and then grow new branches. They grow quick. You can grow a branch a lot faster than you can thicken a trunk. So to start with, I'm just going to do my routine style of trimming where I just kind of go through and trim it back to 1, 2, or maybe even 3 leaves, leaving the last leaf pointing in the direction that I want the branch to grow, otherwise known as directional pruning or clip and grow. So I'll give you one example of how tough these Tigerbark ficuses are. This tree in particular, about 3 years ago when I lived in an apartment, I had it on the balcony of my apartment. It was right in the middle of summer. It was like a 100-degree day, and a windstorm came through, and I lived on the 3rd floor. I left in the morning, and when I came home that night, I went out to the balcony and it was gone. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? I looked down and it had been blown off the balcony, who knows when, during that day. It was out of the pot, roots exposed, upside down, just in this pathetic state. So I freaked out and ran downstairs and grabbed it and potted it back up. I have no idea how long it was out exposed like that in 100 degrees, but it had to have been at least hours. But it never skipped a beat. I mean, it survived, obviously, and just kept growing. Didn't drop its leaves or anything, so I'm not encouraging you to duplicate that. Maybe I just got lucky, but I'm just saying it happened and it lived, so they're pretty tough. I'll kind of share one other thing that I try to keep in mind when I'm doing these. There's, I would say, almost 2 main ways of thinking about these as you're trimming them up. You can be thinking about them and how they're going to look today. So you trim it into shape, kind of a triangle shape, and there's really not much thought involved there. You just sort of hedge trim it into the shape you want. Or you can be thinking about tomorrow and next week and 10 years from now, down the road, and anything in between. Here I'm doing a little of both. I'm trying to not make it too ugly because, it deserves a little better than that. It's a cool looking tree in an S shape. So I don't want to be thinking solely for the future. Many trees I do. Many trees are in an ugly state for the first 5 or so years of their life, just to get it to a point where I can start thinking about how it's going to look now. But this one is sort of graduated into something more than that. So yes, I am thinking about later, but also trying to keep it, aesthetically pleasing today if possible, or something in between. I don't know, I'm kind of contradicting myself there a little bit, but hopefully you know what I mean by that. I'm trying to keep both things in mind and strike a balance if I can. So right there's that back budding. Sure do love that. I have a habit of getting clumsy with those little things sometimes and loving them to death, or So I'm just staying away from them, not trimming them, not anything. Just want to let them grow, and then eventually trim that whole branch down to where the back budding is. Eventually. That right side in particular is what's giving me some fits, because there's just a lot of long, straight branches. Now it's on the left side. It's going to be the right here a second. There it is, the right side there. As you're looking at the front, the right side. A lot of long, straight branches, so in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have gone back a little further, and I still can. Nothing stopping me. I might. But the middle branch and the left branch has better movement. And the only way to get movement is to get slightly brutal with the trimming. So right there, for example, that's what I mean. So now that branch is going to have great movement. And if I do it again when it grows out, it'll still have great movement. I didn't get brutal like that on the right side, and that's the result. Long, straight branches, because that's the way a tree wants to grow, is long and straight. But that's probably as brutal as I'm going to get today. I'm not in a super aggressive mood. Kind of mellow, so kind of a mellow cut. But I did notice some little buggies on there. So I'm going to give it a neem oil shower here in a second. That's something I've been doing a lot more regularly lately with trees. Is as I'm working on them, just shower them down with neem oil afterwards, then rinse them off. Kill whatever buggies are on there. Okay. This won't hurt a bit, tree. It's good for you. And I do not hold back. When I give it a neem oil shower, I douse it. I get up underneath leaves and in every crack and crevice, on the soil, everything. And I let it sit for 20-30 minutes or so. And rinse it off. And I never do it in direct sunlight, because I am told that neem oil in direct sunlight can burn leaves. And that makes sense. Haven't tried it. I don't think I want to. Here it is after its little neem oil shower. Time to go back to its partner, Benny. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Give me any opinions you might have on styling, and have a good rest of your day.